Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Philo. Let's say hi to Robin. Hi, Robin. And then we got Archimedes in Cat Cam. And this is where we left off last week. So let's do this. And so yeah, I'll put you in the big window. So where we left off last week was Pluto bounced out of the Anglestock hatch as a puma.
Right on. Hey, wasn't Kay supposed to join us today?
Kay actually had something come up and was unable to join us today, and still trying to figure out the technicals of getting her Huyon working. So, it's okay. It's not a problem. I invited a bunch of people. Hopefully some people will show up and talk to us today. So so this is where we left off. Pluto bounced out of the Anglestock hatch. They are in an oubliette.
Yes, that was really inspired using that.
Well, Ian and I watched a YouTube video on ancient torture techniques, and the oubliette was one of them that they mentioned. They talked about very specific oubliettes that had very specific circumstances. And
I'll have you know that I've been to the torture museum in Nuremberg.
Nice.
I was a kid though, so that was the 80s. I don't really remember much of it, except for certain torture chairs and stuff.
If you're ever in Philadelphia, there is the Mutter Museum, which I went to as a pilgrimage once. The Mutter Museum is a museum of the macabre by today's standards, but it originally started as a medical university. A medical school.
Interesting.
And so it started out as a medical school right around the Revolution or so. And so, they would do things like they'd have the cadavers, and people would dissect the cadavers and, pose with the cadavers and stuff. And
lovely.
Yeah. And so they didn't have photography back then. So they had wax sculptures of different ailments, so the doctors could come and look at the sculpture to identify this is herpes, or this is syphilis, or this is this particular illness, this is pink eye, right? And so they would draw in their sketchbooks what the ailment looked like based off of the wax sculpture. So the Mutter Museum started out with that, and then because it was a medical school, they just collected all these medical equipment. And again, as medicine progressed, it kind of progressed away from what the school had in its collection, so it became a museum. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so it has things like if you know the Elephant Man, they have his skeleton. They have casts of his arms and his legs, as well as a model that he built with his hands. And and so they show the delicateness of the model, and yet and then they have this plaster cast of one of his arms next to it, and you see the folds of skin and everything. They have a collection of conjoined twins. Yes, they have a collection of different different stages of the embryo, becoming a baby in the womb and stuff like that. But you have to understand, this was collected in early 1800s, late 1700s. And so this was to teach doctors, these are the stages of gestation, right? Yeah. And so by our standards, we're looking at, poor little dead babies. But by those standards back then, they just used what they had, which was poor little dead babies.
So they were learning. Yeah.
Yes, they were learning. Yeah.
Is there any way to incorporate all that knowledge into our story?
Well, sure, why not? So we left off with Pluto bounce out of the oubliette. Let's review from last week. So Meow, new character.
That's right, Chairman Meow.
Wants to rule through a puppet government with Dot Badan as figurehead, right? And so Meow's origins are mysterious, but he always wanted to run the Philo government. Meanwhile, the group wakes up in an oubliette. Pluto goes Puma mode. And then Bluto bounds out of the angle stock hatch. So what I'm thinking, gosh, it's hard to think. So what I'm thinking is like,
yeah, because I gotta tell you, this week has been kind of crazy for me, especially at work today. Like, it was non-stop, literally non-stop serving people because everybody's everyone's quickly trying to get their groceries before Monday, because on Monday there's an eclipse, and it's something that's only happening like every 300 years, so people are freaking out, and my city is like right in the path of the eclipse. So like Niagara region even called a state of emergency. That's like how worried they are about how flooded they're going to be with people.
Yeah. So Micromastophobia just said, sounds like a good job. For what you're doing today. And let's incorporate the eclipse. So
that's a good idea. The eclipse comes, and then then we learn the actual powers of the original figurehead of the planet,
which is Philo.
Yeah, Philo, the giant.
Yeah. So the eclipse comes. So to his surprise, there's an eclipse that empowers Philo. Yeah, let's do that. So I got a new program thing so that I can hear people's comments, and it reads it to me. And so it's really kind of weird.
Does it sound like the computer in the Radiohead song?
It's definitely a computery voice, yes. But it is, I am trying to embrace the modern age in its modern aginess, and not become a dinosaur.
That's fair.
Yeah, I wanna survive. Okay, let's see. I got to unplug this.
Did I tell you at my job I work with like 15 to 18-year-olds mostly? A lot of them are 15, 16 years old. They're babies.
Well, so do they look up to you then?
God, no. Well, one of them said today that he thought I'd been working there forever, and I was like, no, I've only been here a couple months. He's like, oh, wow. He's like, you've been here forever. I was like, yeah, man. I'm just old. But I don't know, it's kind of interesting, like, to talk to them and stuff and see what they're into, and who, like, there's this one kid, he's Dominican. He's this really tall, skinny black kid, and he's like literally, I think he's 15. Yeah, he's 15. He's so skinny. But Monica was on the radio. He started, it was the Monica Brandy song, and he started singing it, and I was so impressed. I'm like, you know this song? This came out when I was like in my 20s. Like, this is crazy. Like, good music's good music. And I'm like, I can't argue with you there, man. No, he's not wrong.
Micromastophobia, by the way, is laughing along with you with a little LOL. So yes, so
I should tell him that I work in a butcher shop. I have two jobs. I work in a butcher shop, and then I also work at a retirement home with nuns, which is also very interesting. Oh, look at that. That's a great drawing.
Let's see.
Is that the dog or is that the puma?
That's going to be the puma.
Yeah, I figured with the ears. That looks like a puma.
It doesn't look much like a puma right now, but I hope to make it more puma.
The snout is kind of radish.
Yeah, so let's
see. That's the only thing.
I'll fix it, but first I'm just gonna... I think,
like, in the next panel, it should have Philomena. What's the head? What's her name?
Philo.
Yeah,
the big giant.
She should be like levitating in the next panel. That's how we know she's got these like super special powers that come out. Unless, is that her there? Are you drawing her now?
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, you are. There. Oh okay. Yeah. Oh okay. I thought you were doing some kind of preliminary sketch, so I wasn't sure. Hey,
well, this is always
Micromastophobia. Did you want to contribute to the story? We like it when people contribute. We like it a lot.
Let's see. Okay, so we don't know what power it's going to give her, right? And so,
Yeah, because it only happens every 300 years, so.
Well, yeah, something like that. Oh, I forgot.
What are you researching? I'm a very curious person.
Yeah, what are you researching?
So, you know something really interesting happened. Like I went and I watch all the drag races, right? Like the RuPaul drag races.
Yeah.
And Canada versus the world happened, I guess last year it was, but I didn't finish it. So I started watching it again. And it's kind of crazy. At one point, Justin Trudeau came onto the show. And it was like, this is mind-boggling. Like, when has a world leader ever done anything like that before? You know, and so
it's happened. Bill Clinton
was on Arsenio Hall.
On Arsenio Hall.
That's true. That's true. And but this is like drag queens. That's just an evening. That's just a night, like, you know, night talk show. That's pretty.
But at the time, it was actually controversial.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I know because what's his face? Obama did it a whole bunch too, and it was really kind of out there, considered at the time out there as well. No, but this is like a drag show. This is kind of crazy to me that they'd be willing to go on there, but I thought it was excellent.
Canada. And
yeah, I know.
Like, yay, Canada! You know, he is Canada's mascot, and he's adorable. Like
there's so many people in Canada that hate him. It's not funny.
He's made some like mistakes definitely, and he's been really kind of short-sighted about some of his plans.
His policies,
which I think
and he's not come through in some ways. But the thing is, for me, like, I didn't vote for him. Like, I've been voting Green Party for like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So I don't vote for him. But the funny thing is he was the member of parliament in my riding where I lived when I lived in Montreal, which is weird because it's like he could have been like a member of parliament in any part of Montreal, but he just happened to be the one that I lived in. And that's like, it was called Park X. And Park X started out as Little Greece. So there's like Orthodox churches on various corners. There's like all these Greek restaurants. There's little old Greek men hanging out at McDonald's every morning. And then not too long after the Hindu and Pakistani community moved in, because it's a really cheap area to live in. And so then all of a sudden there's Indian restaurants on every corner and with the Greeks. And then before I left, it was starting to become a little more Muslim and like a little more African and Ethiopian. Like that was like a lot of the community was starting to change towards that culture. But the thing that was so fascinating is that I would see Trudeau hanging out with all of them. You know, he'd be hanging out with those old guys at McDonald's sometimes, or I'd see him celebrating India's independence when they would have a big parade, or it would be Greek Orthodox Easter, and he would be there. I even saw him at a comic convention with his kids, and he had no entourage, no nothing, and he was just there with his kids. So, like, the other thing, too, that I always say about him is you can begrudge him all you want, but during COVID, how did you survive?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking you, how did you survive?
I worked in a dispensary.
Oh, so you had a job. But if you didn't have a job, during COVID, what would you have done?
The stipend that they gave us was like nothing. You guys at least got like a living wage for
we did.
A period of time. Yeah.
I got $1,000 every 2 weeks. I didn't get it the whole time because I was working, but when I wasn't working, because there were times where they shut down the whole country.
Well, we
got paid.
We ignored micromastophobia, by the way, when he says, I'm trying to either build or buy a vacation RV park. I'd like to not do my job anymore.
We don't blame you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my point. Like, as terrible as you say Trudeau may or may not be,
I'm not saying he's terrible.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that there's a lot of people in the country that say that. And my point is that if another if another political party was in power during that situation, I don't think we would have been so lucky, is what I'm saying. So yeah. I'm grateful forever to Trudeau for that. He didn't have to do that. And he did.
He says, I live as cheap as possible, so getting through COVID was just like any other time I've lost my job.
Yeah, you learn to improvise, adapt, and overcome. I mean, I did 3 months without a job, and God, it was awful. It was so hard.
Let's do this.
But you do learn to live without a lot of things. You do learn to be resourceful with food, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And clever. Yeah. All right. So we have this. We have this. To his surprise, there's an eclipse that empowers Philo. So this is the eclipse. Let's erase some of that. I learned how to make delicious naan bread.
Naan bread is not easy. You have to have like a special kiln. Do you do it on the stovetop? Because that's what I've known whenever I've gone to an Indian restaurant that I've liked. I've made sure they've had that special kiln where they have to like throw it against the side of the oven, and then it slowly, as it cooks, it slowly peels off the side of the kiln. And it's yummy hot naan. Yes. I think you need to fix the nose of the puma because it still kind of looks like a dog. It's too pointy. Okay. It needs to be rounder and shorter, I think. But you pan fry it. Yeah, but it's still good. Yeah, naan is amazing. If you got the ingredients right, it's still going to taste awesome. I love naan.
Let's see. Is that this one? Yes.
It's so funny. When I moved to Montreal, I was like really determined to find a good Indian place because I didn't realize that where I'd moved to was considered at that point Little India. And I found this place, and it's so funny. Like I found it because, of course, it was packed with Indian people, so that's how you know it's good. But they'd taken over an old Dutch restaurant, so you go in there and you're ordering your Indian food, and it's like white picket fences and tulips and blue skies everywhere on the interior. Like they didn't bother to change the decor. And then they also played Bollywood movies with subtitles. So I saw like it was the weirdest thing. Like I swear I felt like I was on LSD. They have made a Bollywood version of The Professional.
So Micromastrophobia says, okay, I found a 270-acre ranch for sale in the mountains. I need to borrow $1.7 million. Oh, hi, Dan Perkins. It's nice to see you.
Yes, I think you should start a Kickstarter or a crowdfunder, whatever they call those things.
Okay. So the last panel, Philo got power. What happens now?
Just call me Micro.
Just call me Micro.
I think. Well, isn't she going to be a little ticked off about the coup?
Well, I mean, we still have the people in the oubliette underneath the Puma, right? There are.
Yeah, well, she's not going to rescue them, I don't think.
Jeremy says, I'm here. I'm in another chat at the moment, but I'm here.
Hi, Jeremy.
At the moment. Hi, Jeremy.
And hi, Tin Perkins.
Yeah. And so, okay, so
we're in the mountains, Micro. Like the Rocky Mountains, the Utah Mountains. Who knows? The Appalachian Mountains.
Would Bluto lose his Puma power?
What is his Puma? Like to become a Puma?
I mean, would he revert back to being Bluto?
She could zap him and make that happen. I'm just trying to remember what they did during the coup. I don't think they did anything, so maybe she would help them.
No, they haven't done the coup yet. All they did was explain their plan to Dot Baton. We don't have no idea where Dot Baton is right now. And
but they still threw them in the oubliette to get them out of the way. So I think that Philomena, whatever, would save them.
Let's see. Micro says Rocky Mountains, 10,000 feet up. The nearest town is called Leadville or Leadville, one of the two. Okay, so
let's Google Maps that. Leadville, USA.
Let's see. Okay.
I'm not in the USA. Yeah, it's weird. For a while there, I was kind of obsessed with Philadelphia because I was watching this TV series called Cold Case.
She uses her power to make an army of giant beavers. Okay.
It's in Colorado.
Yes.
Leadville.
Yes. Uses her.
Oh, it's pretty.
Powers to make.
It looks like it's got a church and a school, and that's about it. It's small.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of towns in Colorado, all right. Yeah, I mean, I live in Denver.
There's a tubing hill, and there's a beautiful lake called Turquoise Lake. There's a dog sledding adventure place.
Yeah.
They got a mosquito peak and a mosquito pass. No, thank you. I pass.
Mosquitoes are actually not that common up here, so that's interesting.
Oh. Well, okay. They got a Mount Democrat,
a Mount
Lincoln, and a Chalk Mountain.
A Chalk Mountain?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna give Philo like these big all-seeing eyes because she can see all now, you know, and she's gonna.
I think she should have some crazy stuff happen around her head because she's fuming.
Yeah, but she's making beavers, and so
she's making beavers.
This was Micro's suggestion, and the audience always supersedes.
Oh, an army of giant beavers! That's a great idea. Yes. Sorry, I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Yeah.
An army of giant beavers. Well, the Canadian in me is quite happy about that. Please bring it on.
Yes, as you should be. So,
and if you end up living anywhere near Leadville, even though it's not Canada, it looks as though there would be plenty of beavers because there's tons of trees.
She doesn't have to make the beavers. She could take the local beavers and make them giant.
Maybe they already were giant. Maybe on that planet the beavers are giant, and they do her bidding.
No. I'm doing this.
You're making her make them? Oh, yeah. I see. They're gonna go boop, 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 and get bigger.
Exactly.
Nice.
This is how you do this. This is how you try and stay up.
Aggression.
And I gotta give them their little beaver ears, you know, so that you know they're beavers. And we'll give them. Oh my gosh! You know what? Would this upset the Kaiju Council? Like,
because they're now beaver kaijus?
I guess they're beaver kaijus, but they're not in our world anymore. They're in the land of Philo. Locally.
So no, I it's too bad we couldn't bring that around, but I don't think we should because you're right. They're on another planet.
Yeah, or dimension or something like that. Okay.
Or reality.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a good night, relatively, and
do you want to see my cat? Did you see my cat the last time I grabbed her?
Yes,
she looked terrified. It was hilarious.
Let's see
it cracked me up. Oh no, she ran away. She knows me too well.
Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna have her hair going out a wild.
Oh yeah, like Medusa in the Marvel comics. Cool.
Yeah. Man, what a power!
Locally sourced beavers is my new band name.
Locally sourced beavers. Yeah, I like that.
That's
okay, so
great.
We're gonna have 3 beavers churning, you know, and so that way we don't have too many beavers.
Well, there's 2 of us, so there's a lot of beavers. Anyways.
Yeah. Yes, locally sourced beavers. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have. I guess I'm gonna start with the beavers down here, and I guess they're gonna be angry at whatever is going on with them, you know.
Did you know that the beavers in Russia are big and black? They're huge and black.
Have you ever seen the difference between North American and English badgers?
No.
So North American badgers, right? English badgers, like, let's have some tea.
they chill out with frogs and wear suits.
I mean, Google it. Look at how cute the English badger is compared to the North American badger.
All right, let's look.
And you have to remember that the English named the North American badger a badger after the English badger.
Oh, yeah, it's cute. It's very cute. That's well, it's European badger.
Yeah, well, European.
Right.
Yeah.
And North American badger, does he look like the honey bear?
Kinda. Yeah, I have to remember.
I see what you mean, because he's got crazy stripes, so he looks kind of angry.
Yeah, exactly.
He's kind of cute, though. He's cute. There's a picture of a raccoon. It's like people don't know the difference.
Well, the internet, the AI doesn't know the difference. You know? It's learning. Oh, yeah. Speaking of AI, I got asked to be in a documentary on how AI is hurting artists in the animation industry.
That's cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Are you excited about it?
I had my first meeting with the director today to just kind of have an information meeting of what she wants to like kind of form her questions around and stuff. And I think that went pretty well, but I've been following AI for a while. Let's see.
And
I'm listening to the text to type.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he just wrote a lot. That's true.
Yeah. And
are you gonna?
Let's see. Oh, also, I'm reading the description for the property. The property might be rezoned by the right investor for future development, ski lodge, resort,
off-grid fortress,
sightseeing, tram, or mountain dream home. There's zoning for off-grid fortress. Nice. So
is that what you need? You need a bomb shelter that's going to protect you from the upcoming zombie apocalypse off the grid, so the Cylons won't get you.
It's not going to be Cylons. It's Terminators. Get it right.
Oh, totally. Oh my God. Yeah. What were we watching? And I had to explain to my dad the joke. We were watching Reacher. You know that TV show, Jack Reacher?
Yeah, I know Reacher. Yeah.
Okay, so him and this girl checked into a hotel, and he went under some baseball player's name, and she went under Sarah Connor. Yeah. And the guy that was following them was reporting back to the bad guy, and when he reported Reacher's name, the bad guy was like, "Oh, that's a baseball player." And then the guy goes, "Well, who's Sarah Connor then?" And the bad guy goes, "Oh, I don't know I don't care who the hell that is."
Yeah.
But the thing is the actor that was playing the bad guy was the one who played the second Terminator.
Oh, Robert Patrick.
Exactly, it was Robert Patrick.
Oh, so it was a little.
So I had to explain the joke to my dad. I'm like, "That was a joke, Dad."
Yeah. It was like one of those clever ones that you have to have a very specific set of knowledge to get. Yeah.
Super nerd knowledge.
It's okay. But yeah, super nerd knowledge is.
It probably will be Terminators. I don't doubt that it'll be Terminators. Oh, look at the Beaver Army. The Beaver Army is looking great.
Well, we're having them get bigger.
Yeah, do you think, here's the question though, do you think that after they've been frozen, that they'll just get reanimated when it starts to warm up and they thaw?
Okay, so for people who aren't reading his comment, he said, "I figured that winter would protect people from zombies. They would just freeze solid." So I kind of like where that idea is going. Like, we might have to incorporate that.
My question is legitimate. Do you think that they would come back to life after they thawed out in the spring?
Have you ever read World War Z by Max Brooks?
No, I have not, but I do know who Max Brooks is.
Yes, so World War Z did a really cool thing about that, where a bunch of Americans and stuff tried to flee to Canada, actually, to escape the zombie apocalypse because of that very reason, right? So they all get to Canada, they're waiting for the cold, but once the cold hit, the food runs out. And they had to resort to cannibalism, right? And then in the spring, the zombies thaw and start kind of coming again. But because it takes them a while to thaw, people just walk around with like hammers and stuff, and they look for like kind of semi-moving zombies, and they just smash their head before they get up. Yeah.
No, it's good to be ruthless.
People are very casual about zombies in that book. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's a really good read, actually. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna have like power shooting out of her eyes. She's gonna be given like, I don't know, like an kind of face. All right, and then let's have her hair
And freezing would just turn them into mush. Why hasn't that ever been explored in a movie yet? I guess it's not very exciting if they turn into globs of mush.
Imagine the smell.
I'd rather not. I don't need to imagine this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can imagine the smell.
I used to do crime scene cleanup, so that's easy for me.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, I did it for like.
How did you never mention this before?
Because it's a shitty job.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, it changes your personality a little bit. You kind of develop a really dark sense of humor, and it happens to everybody. It has a really high burnout rate. There's daytime shifts and there's like nighttime shifts, right? Mm-hmm. And seniority goes to the daytime shifts, right? So daytime goes to seniority, I should say. And so I work nights. So my shift would usually start around 11 p.m. And then it would continue until about 6 in the morning or so.
Yeah, that's long.
Yeah, but I mean, they had perks, like they pay for meals and stuff. So, there was a couple 24-hour diners and stuff that we would go.
But it was such a gross job. I barely ate anything.
Yeah, there was that too. It was not always the best experience. And I had one really bad experience that still kind of haunts me a little bit. And Ian cleans out the dirty food in the fridge because of this. And so I couldn't go back. I called my boss and I said, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And he's like, oh, you lasted for 6 months. You did pretty well. It's okay. Yeah, but it has a high burnout.
Thanks.
Well, it has a high burnout. And so
I get it.
Yeah. So not exactly the best experience.
So after that, do you think it would be too hard or too easy to do the job where you're harvesting cranberries and the spiders crawl all over you?
Spiders don't bug me. The spiders.
Well, then you can do that job. The cranberry job.
The spiders that crawl on you for the cranberries, they don't bite you either. They're just they just hang out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're wolf spiders.
Yeah. They're just they're like not really that dangerous or anything.
Okay. People for that job are in high demand, so you should apply.
Yes, but you have to live way up north for that, and I don't live there.
Oh, that's an up north? Fruit grows that far up north? You're already pretty north in Denver.
Yes, but the cranberry fields are like in Oregon and they're bogs. They're in Washington.
So it's rainforest. It's not north, it's rainforest, which is BC and Washington.
Well, but it does get cold. I don't know where cranberries come from. I'm an idiot.
It does. Okay. The cold though? The cold that chills your bones because it's coming off the ocean. It's that kind of cold. But it's not snowy cold. It's not a snowy cold. It's a rainy, slushy cold.
All right. So what happens next? All right. This is the sketch of kind of what happened before. So now we have giant beavers.
So do the giant beavers encircle the people that have been staging the coup? The ladies that have been staging the coup?
Well, are the giant beavers only there for the eclipse?
No, she made them giant.
She made them giant with their powers from the eclipse. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, but she's gonna do something with them. So isn't she gonna use them to enforce her the fact that this coup was happening?
Philo uses her giant beavers to
entrap the traitors. To entrap the traitors.
Wait. Beavers to entrap the traitors.
Oh, okay. Kitty's moving.
Yeah. Oh, we got some action on Kitty Cam. Yeah. Hot cat cam action.
My kitty's busy licking plastic because she's weird.
There he is. See?
Sometimes there's cats that have pica too, so you want to make sure.
It's not pica. It's a lot of the plastic. I researched it. A lot of the plastic has a bit of fish oil in it, so that it prevents it from sticking to the other plastic that it's in.
This.
Yeah.
Yes. So she's just going fishy, fishy, fishy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing too is I think it's like a stim for her. Like, you know how everybody has their own little stim. And I know that she can't handle if I'm giving her like 100% of my attention. She will always come to me if I'm on the phone or if I'm eating or if I'm rolling a joint, because she knows my attention's divided, and that's when she flops down and she wants me to scratch her. But if I am only paying attention to her, it's too much. She can't handle it, and she runs away.
Let's see. We're kind of doing pretty good. If I'm making the beavers this big, I guess the people will be really small if they're giant beavers, right?
Okay, Amber, look, Amber, look before she runs away.
Your cat. She's like, why am I on TV?
Yeah, she's like, run away.
No! Remove me from this place. Okay. So
but she doesn't want to abandon the plastic, so she's back to licking plastic.
Well, I mean, fish oil. Yeah.
What if the zombie mush was like animated like the food in Calvin and Hobbes? It's like you still can't kill it. It's still trying to eat you, but it's like mush. That would be so annoying.
Okay? Because the body deteriorates, right? And then as it rots, it's harder for the zombies to move around, right? Because they have less muscle sinew, they have less tissue. Their bones may have broken. I imagine they're like dragging limbs behind them after a while, and they'll get caught on things. All of this kind of happens, right? So does that mean that the muscle tissue is trying to contract and relax on its own, right? If you chop it up, like, or in a lot of cases,
or would it be like rigor mortis,
brainstem, right? Like, but what you're describing is more a deadite, where the arm can come alive, and then the leg can come alive. What you're describing.
I was just thinking it would turn into a pile of mush, and then the mush would be animated.
Yes, but if that can happen, then that means the individual pieces can, like, because if it's mush, then it has no brainstem.
It's gross.
What? Zombies are cool. Like, zombies are
I did like that Mike Allred comic turned TV show, iZombie. I thought that was kind of cool how, like, if she ate the brains, then she would, like, become them.
Let's see. Okay, so we're going to have the Willendorfs down here, right? And we still haven't released anybody from the oubliette.
Well, the Puma's out.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I also think that Philomena is going to help release those people from the oubliette.
You think Philo's going to do that?
Yeah, because they didn't do anything they had nothing to do with the coup. It's kind of been a whirlwind for them, really. They haven't really had a chance to do anything, period.
Let's see. Okay, so we're going to have Meow, I guess, in the center of all this. And I'll put the oubliette over here with the thing off.
If you were going to live off the grid in the north, though, but instead of living in Colorado, wouldn't you, like, live in the Yukon?
Like, the Yukon, in order to get anything kind of supply-wise, you have to have it flown to you.
Very expensive, that's true. Hey, correct me, because I'm stoned and I've forgotten. The Yukon's Canadian, right? And Alaska's yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Yukon's to the right, Alaska's to the left. Yes, but they're at the same, latitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same meridian.
Let's see.
No, it's okay, Dale. You're allowed to be late. You're allowed to be late, Dale. You missed the giant beavers, though.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm still drawing giant beavers. I still have giant beavers.
I don't know. It just sounded a lot more fun to say you missed the giant beavers.
Yeah,
like they'd shown up for coffee and left.
Yeah.
They were hanging out with the European badger.
Yeah. He's nice. He's a European badger, Let's see,
Hey, if we had our own version of Toad Hollow or What the Wind in the Willows, it would be like Canadian geese and beavers. So, Well, it was so funny when I lived in China. They didn't know any of those things. I used to have to show them like images from the internet and be like, "This is a moose. This is a polar bear. This is a beaver. This is a Canadian goose."
There are a lot of Chinese animals though that we don't know.
Oh, dude, when I was there, I barely saw any. I heard birds all the time, but I never saw them. Never. Never.
Well, maybe
you flew around in the dark.
It's possible. I mean, if there's enough light, it has been observed in some cities.
I do not like the cobra chicken. I used to be kind of scared of them, but then I rescued one, and when I was bringing it to the rescue center to be taken care of, the lady who just scooped him out of the back of the car, out of the cage, and she just held him like this, and he kept trying to bite her, and she was like, "Oh, whatever." She was totally unfazed, and I'm like, I'm not scared of them anymore. They're just big old goofs. They're only trying to protect their young when they're angry like that, and it's just whatever. They just have big wings. They don't really have teeth. They do, but they don't. It's just a pinch. They're just they're big pinch. Birds. They're just like little turkeys, They're goofy. I like them. Canadian geese.
I don't know. Turkeys are pretty nasty when they decide they want to fight you.
Oh. Yeah. I've not hung out with turkeys that want to fight. I did see a video of turkeys playing soccer though, and that was crazy.
Yeah, turkeys are smarter than people give them credit for. I did my internship in Reedfield, Maine, and so there was a I don't know, a flock of wild turkeys that would go around and stuff like that, and they were very territorial. So yeah.
So what was your co-op?
Oh, what my internship?
Oh, sorry, your internship, yeah. That was all the way in Maine.
Yeah, I worked for a company called Critter News, and it was supposed to be one thing, and it ended up being something else. So it was supposed to be a paid internship where we're doing stuff, but it was 2007, 2008, and that's right when we had the financial collapse with Occupy Wall Street and stuff. And so no one was hiring at that time. And so these people made their livings writing children's books, and everything was on a dead halt. And so they had no paying work during that summer aside from work that I brought them.
Not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was I did stuff fix their toilet.
That's
it was
not fun.
Yeah, it was not a good experience at all. And
they're you're a student, you have to do whatever we say. Oh, well, not actually.
Yeah, it was definitely and there was, I don't know, it was a weird experience. I had to tell him at one point, it was a couple, right? And it was their home, and so I was a guest in their home, right?
Okay.
She would walk around naked 24/7.
You don't need to see that.
I mean,
Speaking of one big angry beaver, as Dale said, that has nothing to do with our current conversation, but it's actually kind of apropos.
That is one angry beaver. I thought a group of turkeys was called a Thanksgiving of turkeys. Oh, naked. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of naked, hey, do you mind if I take off for 5 minutes? I think my Amazon package came. I think if I remember correctly, I'm getting a dot from Animaniacs.
Oh,
when I went naked, I thought of hello nurse.
Yeah,
even though that's not dot, but yeah, I gotta go see.
The voice actress, Trace McNeil. Oh, she's
very
amazing.
Cool.
If you know anything about voice actors, she is.
No, I know nothing.
She is everywhere. She's been on The Simpsons for years. She's Futurama.
Sounds like Cree Summers.
Thwart the Porch Pirates. Yes. Okay, go. Thwart the Porch Pirates. Okay, I'll draw.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back with a dot.
I'll entertain. That's what I'll do is I'll draw Willendorf's.
Here, you guys can look at my ceiling.
Oh, ceilings. Yeah. So I'm kind of drawing him at this weird angle. You know, we'll give Meow a tail, and then I have this little like remote thing, if you can see that, and usually it's working, but it decided to not work today, and so let's get rid of her ceiling for a second till she comes back. And so yeah, it's just slowing me down a little bit. It's okay, I'll survive. Let's see. So yeah, so is that a grid for layout or perspective? I was thinking perspective at first, but I think I'm gonna go for more of kind of like a flatter image. It's more about trying to get it done than perfect. And so yeah, we'll have her eyes open. She's got like power eyes because she's the same size as the beavers. Yeah. So previous episodes, the group all merged together and became like a kaiju that was called the Centagon. Let's see. Is that grid for layout or perspective? Your tablet remote bit the big one. No, it didn't bite the big one. I just literally have to restart my system, but I'm not going to do that in the middle of the show because it takes like 10 minutes and you guys would stop and it would be 2 different recordings and stuff like that. So I toughed through it and I have my keyboard. If you cannot make it happen, you adapt, right? And so that is what I'm doing. I'm adapting. And so yeah, let's do this. Let's draw this giant woman. And yeah, we'll have this. We'll have giant beavers. Centagon is a really cool name. Yeah, Centagon with a D. And oh yeah, so they all joined in as the Centagon, and then Godzilla is like, I don't like how you're destroying everything, and brings them in front of a kaiju council, but then they dematerialize due to an ice cream truck because they're hungry. It's a very strange story. What I'm going to do is I have this. Okay. I have Robin returning as well. And so this is my website. It's called panelpanel.com. You can see it right up there and stuff like that. And if you scroll all the way down, I have Philo pages right here. And then I have the previous episodes right here. So if you're ever curious about where we are in the story, you can always check the website and see that. And so I think Senegod, where was Senegod? Let's see, this is Bluto when he decides he's going to make more Otises. This is Senegod right here. And so this is Godzilla going, yeah, no, you don't do that. And then
no, it's not Centagog, it's Centigog because it's like a centipede.
Yes, and this is the Kaiju Council. There's a trial. This is the ice cream truck, and so they all go, "What's that?" and then try and slink away, and end up in the land of Philo through a vending machine portal that Otis is somehow, and then there's an Otis Lotus. And then Otis emerges as Daptadan, which is a African goddess. And they go to the Palace of O. They have a party. They get drugged here. And then the evil plan, the coup, is explained by Meow. And then this is them in the
Chairman Meow.
That's right where we left off before this episode. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. And I didn't even show you guys the first few pages. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yeah, but let's do this. And I'm gonna do, let's see, we're gonna, I keep trying to use my thing. I can't use my thing. Oh, I'm not even gonna try that. I'm not even gonna attempt that. No, that is not working. All right, let's do this. All right, I was thinking of like a floor, maybe. Oh, you know what? I am so dumb. I have textures. Dale says, "Isn't the beaver the national bird of Canada?"
No. Beaver is a mammal, isn't it?
I think he's being facetious.
Oh, okay. Do we have? I don't think we have a national bird, but I guess the cobra chicken would be it if we did have a national bird.
The cobra chicken. Cobra chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're lucky here in Denver when it comes to Canadian geese because they're so freaking tired they don't want to fight anything, right? But you have them after they've rested. You have them up there after they've rested, and they can be quite stubborn creatures.
Amber.
Yes. Oh, Animaniacs! There's your dot. What is it? Is it a vinyl figure? Is it stuff?
Yes. It's from a company called Super 7. It's huge.
Yeah, Trace McNeil. Gosh, I'm trying to think some of the other characters she plays. For Disney, she plays Daisy. So whenever you hear Daisy in the modern day, that's Trace McNeil.
Oh my god, this is so worth it. Look at this box. That's excellent. Here they are. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
Super 7 is in San Francisco, says Dale.
The guys that do the voices of Yakko and Wacko are, I don't know if they've come already or not, but they were doing the show in Toronto.
Yeah, Rob Paulson is one of them, and then voice of Wacko.
And it's they also do the voices of Pinky and the Brain.
Jess Harnell. Jess Harnell does the voice of Wacko. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Ooh. Oh no.
Her body is, you can't see it, but her body is down there.
No. You're getting the big window on this one.
All right. Can you see her little skirt and everything there? There's her little skirt.
The average age of Super 7 customers is 45. Yeah, look at that.
No That's kidding. Cool. Look at the head with that. I love eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. This is excellent. Dot.
Yeah, I always love it.
I want to take it out of the box. Usually I do, but
no, I'm always a fan of a really good sculpt. I actually, it's rare that I show my toys up here, but let me grab one real quick. That's within reach.
I think this is my first Super 7. I don't think I've ever. Yeah, I don't think I got anything by these guys.
So, here, let me put myself in the big window for this guy.
It's $50.
This is one of my favorite toys.
Ooh, does his wings move?
His wings flap. What I had to do though is I had to glue in his tail and his wings because my daughter was playing with them, and so the wings wouldn't stay in anymore. So I basically picked an angle I like, and so they still flap, but they don't move anymore.
Oh, but that still looks really good.
Yeah, and he has like an extra face and a book and a chili pepper. You know, it's pretty good. Yeah. I admit that I am a fan of toys. Okay, so we got this. Philo uses her giant beavers to entrap the traders. And let me put that in the big window so that people can enjoy the panel along with me. Let's see, here's panel 4.
The Pinky and the Brain. The Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius.
Super 7 is releasing figures with different heads and hands. Their Star Trek TNG Commander Data figure has different heads and hands and a tiny cat spot.
Yeah, yes, I've got some Star Trek figures, but I don't think they were Super 7. I can't remember which company made them. I should look it up, but they were they're older.
I have one Star Trek toy, and it's Lieutenant Barclay.
I don't know who that is.
He was the character played by Dwight Schultz, who used to be on A-Team. He played Murdoch on A-Team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
yeah, Murdoch.
Yeah, Dale says years ago it was Playmates. So okay,
yeah,
so what
I think
it's
their Playmate. No, it's not Playmates. It's like it's almost like a McFarlane. It's not McFarlane, but it's like McFarlane.
So what happens next? Okay, is the coup was shut down before it even started. We now have giant beavers. Yes, he was Murdoch. He was Murdoch in A-Team. He was the original Murdoch. That's Dwight Schultz. That's the actor that played Lieutenant Reginald Barclay. Let's see, what most known for having like hollow addiction and turning into a spider. He turned into a spider. He had a cold, and so Beverly Crusher turned on like some T cells to fight the cold, but it like kept turning on like DNA, and so people started de-evolving into all these different creatures, and he turned into a spider.
That sounds really creepy.
Yeah, he's actually one of my favorite characters. I think he's kind of cool. But okay, what happens in the story? So they ended the coup. Philo, like, does she lose her powers when the eclipse is gone? We still have people in an oubliette. Is there a portal in the sky? What's going on? We don't even know where Dr. Don is. We have no idea where Otis is.
I'm not paying attention because I'm actually looking up these Star Trek action figures that I have. Trying to figure out who made them.
God, one of the guys from Battlestar Galactica was on the A-Team.
Which guy?
I don't remember. I don't think it was Face. Was it Face? Yeah, Lieutenant Broccoli is one of the more memorable characters in Star Trek, and I'm pretty sure it's purely due to actor skill. Yeah.
Wait, so the figures that I have are part of the Diamond Select series.
Ooh.
They're nice.
So okay, I got to figure out what happens in the story. We're on.
No, yeah, 4. You do. You figure it out.
All right, I will figure this one out.
I'm kidding. Yeah, we got to get him out of there. Starbuck, really? Starbuck wasn't. It was what Starbuck was that guy. He was in the New Galagala as well. The guy who played Starbuck.
Okay.
Forgot his name.
Let's see what happens next. So we have, no one is paying attention to the oubliette.
Richard Hatch. That's who's the original Starbuck. Richard Hatch. I knew that name, but I forgot. Oh, no, he wasn't Starbuck. Here he is right here. Oh, he was Starbuck. You're right, Dale. I'm wrong.
Dale's pretty good at media.
He's right. Hatch was Apollo, and Starbuck was Dirk Benedict from A-Team. Right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, I never watched Battlestar Galactica, the old one or the new one. It just never grabbed me.
The new one. The new one was quite addictive. I've never watched the old one. But from all intents and purposes, from what I understand, the old one's basically trying to be a Star Wars ripoff.
Well, everybody was trying to be a Star Wars ripoff back then. Yeah, Star Wars made so much goddamn money. Oh my gosh. George Lucas was so smart when he made Star Wars, okay? He's like, just give me the licensing, and they're like, yeah, sure, you get the licensing, right? And he made toys. Mm-hmm. No one had thought of it before, really. Of like, yeah, let's make toys. I mean, sure, there's toys for Star Trek. There's toys for, other kind of spacey type things, but he made toys. Like, he made so many toys. The only one was the only sci-fi that was on TV. It wasn't that. Okay. So let's see. No one is paying attention to the oubliette, letting the group escape. So let's draw.
Well, then, if they're escaping, won't the Puma have to sneak off to join them? Or are they going to abandon Bluto to that planet?
Bluto's been pretty rough to Philo.
Yeah.
But I think that they would escape together because no one is paying attention to them, right? So
Because they're
we would have,
codependent.
I guess. I don't know. Like, are we ever gonna send Philo to like victims recovery or something? You know?
Maybe this is his witness relocation program. He's got it. He's going to escape them by leaving the planet and leaving Pluto behind.
I don't know. Okay, so we got Bluto as a puma. We got the dog. Let's draw. Let's see. Let's draw Philo somewhere over here.
Is Dad Badan gonna come back? / Otis?
Well, I mean, they can't leave Otis behind because they can't get back without him.
That's true. So then they're escaping to rescue her.
I imagine it's a let's get out of here and figure out the next move as we go.
Yeah.
There was figures for Star Trek and for Planet of the Apes. The Star Wars figures were new as they were so small and junky compared to original Barbie-sized G.I. Joes. Let's see. Okay. And let's see, we got dog. Okay, and then I guess there's no Dot Baton. Huh. So I guess I'm not drawing that.
Well, yeah, they've got to go rescue her. She's elsewhere.
Yeah, so we're going to have, let's see, giant beavers in the back here.
Giant beavers!
You know, yeah, giant beavers in the back here. Doing giant beaver stuff. And so, I know, this is like the worst drawn beaver ever, but that's okay, I'll fix it.
Looks like a serpent beaver.
Yeah, they're sketches. They're gestures.
They're drafts.
Yes.
Let's cut you some slack. They're just drafts.
Cut me some slack. Yeah. Yeah, you know, you could always do the drawing.
Yeah, exactly. It would look like that. It would look as good as that. That would be as far as I'd get because I'm not good at anything else. Except okay. Sausage people.
Sausage people can do mighty things. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna do, here's the oubliette, and then it's like in there. And then I'm gonna turn this scribble into a panel somehow.
So do you think we should talk about the big event that happened in the comic book world this week?
Yeah, we can. I didn't really know Ed very well. I remember meeting him at a couple San Diego Comic-Cons. Who I really feel for is I think he has siblings, and you know, I think his parents survived him. And there's a lot of people that were really close to him in his life, and my heart goes out to them. And but at the same time, there was like allegations, and in his note, he admitted to them. And so
sure, he did, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and so it's like it's a complicated thing, but I think the people who are really hurt here are his family and any victims he might have had.
Yeah,
you know.
But I think a lot of people are also pretty angry because it didn't really need to go that far. Like, I feel like he could have weathered the storm.
You know, it depends. Like, you know, he may have just. I don't want to say he was a weak of character.
No, I don't think. I'm not saying he's weak. It's just that
he might have been susceptible to suggestion, and people were really harsh when the allegations were coming out, and his answer wasn't to meet them face on or to acknowledge them or anything as he was alive, but to leave a note that admitted to everything after he died to be discovered. Right? And so that's kind of a coward's way out. And I think that because of the allegations and stuff against him, it could have probably been worse. It's just that those were the early allegations, you know? And it's just, like I said, my heart goes out to his family, you know, and his loved ones, because suicide's always rough on a family.
the ones left behind.
Yeah. I've had suicides in my family, and it's never easy for the survivors. And so yeah. And so yeah, we'll do this. But yeah, if you want to jump in, that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Well, for me, it just kind of like, I've actually read the 5-page suicide letter that he specifically chose 40 comic book artists to send it to before he posted it on his Facebook page for all to see.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me not to see it as a revenge suicide. Like, I'm probably going to come across as really callous, but to be quite honest with you, I was going through it myself last summer. So, like, I'm sympathetic to what he was going through, but at the same time, like, when you read that letter, he talks a lot about the money he's missing out on, and it reads a lot like he just couldn't live without the clout that he'd accrued, because he'd lost all that,
what I took
and I mean, there's so many people in this world that have weathered worse, way worse, and come out stronger for it.
Is that he was sorry he got caught. And so that, it was like you said about, oh, I'm going to miss out on money, and, people aren't going to respect me as much, and all these sorts of things. And he kind of blamed the people who started talking.
He's just saying, like, the internet killed me, bullies killed me, you're gonna regret it, now I'm dead, you're gonna regret it. Like, it's really kind of childish, to be quite honest. It's hard, and I'm having a hard time not being angry about it, because it, like, I can understand how a lot of male cartoonists see themselves in Ed, and how it's really easy to, like, see yourself be in that position, and so it can be a little scary what happened. But at the same time, now that he's passed on, everyone's lionizing him, like he's, oh, it's a tragedy, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, Ed, this is so great, and everything else has been shuffled under the rug, and now he's this great person, he did these great things, and it's just kind of like, I don't know.
And again, like, I'm not, none of that's his family's fault.
No, definitely not.
And his friends are supporting him, like, they're his friends.
And he had support. Like, that's the other thing, too. A lot of people did support him, reached out to him, called him, showed up on his doorstep to let him know he wasn't alone. And he still chose to ignore all that,
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to not see him trying to make a very specific point.
Yeah. It's just not, I don't know, like,
it's a really weird, gray, murky thing, and it's really affected, like, almost every corner of the comic industry. Everyone's on their high horse accusing these internet bullies, but there's, like, nobody isn't, like, you know what I mean? There were these mobs, and everyone was a part of these mobs, but now it's like everyone's doing a 180, and they're like, oh, that wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of in the dark about all the allegations and stuff until people were talking about his suicide, right? And then that's when I started my Google foo search, and was like, oh, here's this. Oh, there's this 5-page note that he left online. Oh, this is what's going on. And then, oh, here's some other people. Hi, developer. Hi, developer. Developer says, hey. And I was like, yeah, so this is going on, right? And I mean, I've met him a couple times at San Diego Comic-Con when he was like setting up his booth and stuff. But like, I remember meeting his brother too. And like, when I heard about the suicide, that's who my mind went to. Is like, I'm sure his brother's really suffering right now.
Yeah.
It's just hard, it's hard to lose someone in such a way, especially with such a dark cloud hanging around him.
Like, this whole thing was the span of like 7 days.
Yeah.
The allegations came out. He didn't refute them. He didn't say anything. He just disappeared off the radar. And then by the end of the week, all of a sudden there's this 5-page letter, and literally within hours, he was dead.
Yeah. Yep. And it happens sometimes. I mean, I don't mean to sound callous by saying that, but it's just, to quote, gosh, what was her name? Just a sec, I gotta find it. Okay, so Patton Oswalt's wife had died, right?
Yep.
And her name was Michelle McNamara. And so
McNamara, yep.
one of the things that she was known for saying to Patton Oswalt and others, like one of her sayings, was that life is chaos.
Yeah, be kind.
Yeah.
I was gonna get that tattooed on my arm.
Yeah.
Life is chaos, be kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a year where I read that book too, and there was a year where I was thinking about getting that tattooed on my arm.
Well, if you still think about it, do it,
Oh, I always think about it for a while just to make sure that I really, 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 really want it. Yeah. So do I.
Yes. And so,
But yeah, that's so funny that you brought that up. Because I don't remember a lot of sayings, like sayings don't stick with me that much, but that one really did because it's pretty accurate.
Well, and the thing is like Patton Oswalt, I'm trying to remember what show it was. I think it was 60 Minutes. And he was talking about how she was working on this particular book about a serial killer. And
she pretty much pointed them in the right direction of the
and they were able to solve the case because of her book.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he was so lucky because I think it was maybe a year later he fell in love again.
Yeah.
And it was with this actress Meredith Salinger, so happy for him. Like he's a lucky guy.
He's a funny guy.
He's very funny too.
And one of my favorite bits about Patton Oswalt, and I'm going to totally butcher it, is he's basically saying that think of your favorite movie, any movie out there, and that's directed by a man, I bet you is edited by a woman, which means it's directed by a woman.
Star Wars.
Yeah, but he says, which means it's directed by a woman. And then he goes on about Star Wars.
Junkie. Like he knows a lot about film.
He goes on about all these like, The Godfather was edited by a woman.
Nice.
It's like, so he has this amazingly researched bit about all these amazing movies. Predator, edited by a woman. And Predator is like this machismo mad movie, right? But you had a woman adding that emotion. Yeah.
Well, what's her name? I forget her name. I think it's Marsha Lucas?
Yeah.
She was the only one fighting for the Force. Like, he showed it to his cronies, which just happened to be Brian De Palma and Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola and Spielberg. And Spielberg was the only one that liked it. Spielberg was like, yeah, that's great. That's cool. De Palma, all of them were like, the Force is hokey. George, get rid of it. It's cheesy. No one's going to watch the movie with this Force. Get rid of it. And then his wife at the time, Marsha Lucas, was like, no, it's the backbone of the whole thing. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
And she was right.
Well, there's a great story about editing, right? The movie High Noon was filmed in 1 year, and I don't remember what year in the 50s, but it was deemed, when they were looking at the dailies and they were looking at the process filmed and stuff, to be an uneditable movie. And so it was shelved for several years. And so I forget who it was, but there was a director. Later on, he became a director. But there was a director that, one of his first jobs in Hollywood was trying to recoup the cost from basically like all this footage that they had from like movies that just didn't happen, or they overshot, or they had takes that they decided that they didn't need, but they still had them on film and stuff. And so his job was to figure out like what could be sold as like stock footage, what could be salvaged. And so he found High Noon, and he realized there was something there. And so he convinced the producers to give him a small stipend. And I mean, I'm talking, he had like $21,000 in 1950s money, which is still not a lot of money. And he was given the small stipend for film and no actors and no sound crew to basically take a camera out and film B-roll. And so his B-roll that he shot was like smoke. He shot like sand, like boots kicking sand, hot
people from the distance in the shadows,
the waviness of the heat, in the distance of like the backlot where they had some Western sets and stuff.
Tumbleweeds going by.
All of this stuff, right? And so what he did is he took the movie and he spaced it out with this B-roll to make the moments breathe. Because one of the problems, one of the reasons why it was uneditable was because it was such a short story. And so he realized that in order to reach a feature length, you had to stretch it out. You had to make the moments breathe. And so he decompressed those moments with his editing. And he did it with like 21, I think like maybe it was $2,000 or $21,000 or something like that. $2,100 or something. He had enough
pretty cool
to buy the film and process it and to rent the camera. And that was it. And so he basically took that and then he took it all into an editing room after the film had been processed and he put that movie together. And so the version of High Noon that we have today is that saved version. The original version, the original cut, we don't know if it's stored or saved or whatever. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool. So
that is really cool.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm not like the biggest like let's support editors people. I don't know, like editors are cool. It's a hard job. It's one of those jobs that
painstaking.
The Buddhists would call invisible work. You only notice it when it hasn't been done well. Right? And or if it hasn't been done.
That's a good point.
And so yeah, so okay, so we got this. We got the dog. We got
those
Puma,
beavers
Pluto.
look sinister.
You like those beavers? Okay, let's see. We got.
They look sinister. The Puma and the dog look great.
I realize there's no Dot Bhutan over here. Let me draw the ears of Mao so that we know he's back here. And I guess Mao was a red herring. I guess we didn't go very far with Mao. I have probably enough time.
Well, he's gonna show up, I think. Yeah, we gotta make him show up.
Well, are they ever gonna get out of the land of Philo? And they are okay. So
maybe behind. Maybe we should have Mao slinking away off somewhere.
Oh, I like that. Okay, let's do this. Let's see. Duplicate layer. Let's go way up here and then let's turn that off. Let's turn that on. And then this says Meow also slinks away. And then that'll give me something to draw. And it's probably going to be our last panel. We got about 10 minutes. So
yeah.
So let's draw Meow slinking away. Let's see. I guess he would just be kind of crawling like Jerry in Rick and Morty. I just kept crawling and crawling and crawling and it just kept working.
Oh, good old Rick and Morty.
Speaking of voice actors, that voice actor is named Chris Parnell and he's hilarious.
Yeah, I know Chris Parnell.
Yeah, he also does Cyril on Archer.
Nice.
And if you ever watched the show Eureka, he played Santa Claus.
I did not. But yes, Chris Parnell is quite famous from being on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Well, he's a funny guy, you know?
Indeed.
Let's see. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to have him in his, like, robes, I guess. He's going to be slinking away, and we'll have a big beaver over here. Yeah. I'll do this. Yeah. No, I've always kind of followed voice actors. I always, I think it's kind of neat. And, like, one of the reasons why I like Gargoyle so much is because there's so many Star Trek actors that did voices.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So
that is, in fact, the one thing I do remember about that show is the fact that it was all or Star Trek people.
Well, I mean, Brent Spiner played Puck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was well written. When I was like 10.
So, have you rewatched it now?
Yeah, I have.
As an adult? And?
Yeah. It still holds up. It's still cute. It's still good. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was the same about, like, I've gone back and looked at a lot of stuff. Like, I remember I loved Nancy Drew, and they're terrible. I was reading them as adults. But yeah. I also loved Gem and the Holograms, and I've watched them many times as an adult. But they still hold up really well.
What also holds up is Gummy Bears and the original DuckTales. They're still really good. Yeah, and like Tailspin.
I would not guess
Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck. I didn't remember the animation being as loose as it was, but it tightens up as the series goes on. And the showrunner Tad Stone still has that kind of loose style when he draws his duck stuff. He does commissions all the time for people of like Darkwing and stuff, and he and I were like Facebook friends, and I just love seeing his roughs because he thinks so three-dimensionally. Micro says Gummy Bears had a story arc that they gave you glimpses of on occasion. Yeah, with the
what I learned is the lead thing, the guy that sang the Gummy Bear theme song, is the lead singer of Toto currently. I don't think he was the original lead singer, but he's the current lead singer of Toto, the band that sang Africa. He's also John Williams' son, is the guy that sings the Gummy Bear theme song. John Williams being the composer of Star Wars.
His name is John Jones. He also did the music for Family Guy. He's done music for The Simpsons. He wrote most of the theme songs for the Disney Afternoon. So, like Darkwing Duck, he sung that one too. He also did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he also did the DuckTales song. So DuckTales, woo, that's him as well.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what else. Like, he worked on Star Trek Next Generation. If you've ever seen the Best of Both Worlds episodes, that's the one where Picard becomes Locutus of Borg. All that like scary kind of music with the strings and stuff, that's John Jones.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I actually bought a CD of that music because I liked it so much. Yeah. So Jeremy says, Beaver! Okay, we'll do this.
Many beavers. Many beavers.
All right, and then I'm going to do Philo back here in the background still. Being all powerful, I guess. So I bet all the places in your area are booked because of the eclipse.
Oh, tomorrow. Yeah. And some places have been doing really shitty stuff where, like, some people have booked, like, a year in advance, and then they've been kicked out because the hotel wants to charge more money.
Yeah, because they didn't plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they realize that there's people that are willing to pay more money.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, no, I'm sorry. We had to change your reservation. No, I had a reservation, bitch. Like, no, you took my credit card
they've
number?
Been kicking people out. Yeah. It's not cool.
Yeah, that's not cool. It should be first come, first serve. One thing that I think is kind of cool is here in the States, I mean, in Canada, I guess there's like a little bit that is crossing, but here in the States, the big part of the country that's crossing is like middle of nowhere land. And so you have all of these like little tiny towns that are having this tiny little eclipse boom in their economies. And like just people getting Airbnbs and buying eclipse glasses and stuff like that. I think that's kind of cool. Am I losing you or are you falling asleep?
No, I'm agreeing with you. It is cool, and like I said, it's only like every 300 years or 325 years. Yeah. It's just that it's the chaos that people are like worried about. Because I mean, to be fair, Niagara Falls is prepared for tourist action like that, but at the same time, like people are really worried. My brother's job is to go around and like he marks lines for like hydro and electricity and like internet and stuff on the ground, so that when people start digging, they don't dig into important lines. And because he drives around,
call before you dig.
Yes, and because he drives around to the various sites, like they're not even going to work on Monday because it's just like there's no point. There's going to be so much traffic.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a free holiday.
Yeah, for them. I got to go into work, but we wonder if we think it'll probably be really dead at my work. That's why it's crazy today and tomorrow.
People might want their last minute ribs,
They need that ribs. Yeah, and we got a big sale on chicken wings and ribs. That's what I sold the most of today, is lots of ribs and lots of chicken wings.
Micro says, freaking hell, someone wants $3 million for 27 acres and 2 yurts.
2 yurts. Yurts are pretty cool, but how warm are yurts in the mountains?
Well, I mean, yeah.
How warm?
I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I got... we're going to go like a minute longer while I'm drawing Mao here.
That's okay.
Yeah. We're going to go a little longer as I'm drawing Mao.
Well, didn't we start a little later? We were like a minute or 2 late anyways.
Yeah, I suppose so. Away, and here is the Philo. Maybe she'll spot him next time. I don't know. Yeah. And don't forget that Philo and Bluto and the dog are all female now.
Yes. So does that mean Philo has the same powers as Philomena or Phyla?
A Phyla?
Now that he's female?
We'll have to figure out that answer next time.
Stay tuned next week. Philo or Phyla?
Philo or Phyla? Is that like Glenn or Glenda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victoria.
Let's see. Okay, so let's do this. We'll have...
Your customers are surviving. That's a good sign. There's been no deaths in the yurts. Ergo, the yurts are good.
Okay. So it's not the best drawn panel, but I will leave it be, I think.
Hey, that beaver looks menacing. I approve.
Oh, because I have a menacing beaver?
Yes, you're a menacing beaver.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Let's review what we did. And so for panel 1, oops, I just realized that Meow Slinks Away is not in panel 5. Here, let's do this. Oop, okay. Go back in your room. Sorry. Meow Slinks Away needs to be in panel 5. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, panel 1, to his surprise, there's an eclipse that empowers Philo, right? And so, Philo can now see all and uses her powers to make an army of giant beavers.
You got to put in pupils or something in her eyes. Are they going to be blank like that?
Yeah, she's using her power. That's why she has like power coming out of the sides of her eyes.
Oh, is that what's happening? Oh, okay, I wasn't sure.
It's quick. Oh,
and your beaver tail, my love, looks like a penis. You need to make it wider at the end.
Fine.
Sorry, you have to have an accurate beaver tail. You know what they look like, right? They look like a paddle.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I was trying to draw it from an angle. I don't know. Anyway, so she's got power eyes. Philo can now see all and uses her powers to make an army of giant beavers. Philo uses her giant beavers to entrap the traitors, and so this is her, and then there they are, and no one is paying attention to the oubliette, letting the group escape.
Perfect.
So there they are, running away. And then the last one says meow also slinks away. And so that's as far as we got today with our thing. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Micro and Developer and Dale and Jeremy was here today. And then, gosh, who else did we have? We had Tian Perkins stop by. And yeah, like... it's pretty good all around group. I'm gonna say goodbye to Miss Robin, who's fallen asleep on us because she worked a very hard job.
I did pass out there for 1 minute, I think. 1 minute, maybe 2.
So I'll say goodnight to Miss Robin. I will say goodnight to my cat Archimedes, and then goodnight to Art. Goodnight to me. And let's give you guys some credits to look at. And yeah, thanks for joining us.